प्रभुपाद की श्री गुरु चरण
Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakti Sadma Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakti Sadma Karuna Sindhu Ragamaya Narabandhu Karuna Sindhu Ragamaya
चक्षुरुन्मिलितां येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। ॐ ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितां येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे जय ओम विष्णुपाद प्रमांस परिव्रज काचरष्टोत्तर श्री श्रीमती डिवाइन ग्रेस अभय चरणारविंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्रीला प्रभुपाद की जय, अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय, नमाचार्य श्रीला हरदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवास आदि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरी गोवर्धन की जय। मथुरा वृंदावन धाम की जय, नवद्वीप मायापुर धाम की जय, जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय, गंगा माई यमुना माई की जय, वृंद देवी तुलसी महारानी की जय, हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र की जय, हरि नाम संकीर्तन महायज्ञ की जय, श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण चंद्र की जय, श्री श्री जगन्नाथ देव सुभद्रा मैया की जय, श्री श्री प्रहलाद नरसिंहदेव भगवान की जय, श्री श्री निताय सुंदर गौर हरि की जय, श्री श्री निताय सुंदर गौर हरि श्री श्री निताय सुंदर गौर हरि की जय। जगत गुरु श्रीला प्रभुपाद की जय। निताय गौर प्रेमानंद all glories to the somebody devotees, all glories to the somebody devotees, all glories to the somebody devotees, all glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga, all glories to Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai।
Jai. Okay, Prabhuji. We want to sit on the chair. Where do we have the projector? We should have the screen somewhere, yes? So please.
I just want to show some pictures. I need to set it up first, so I need to know where to project it to.
Yeah, we can have a screen here.
There will be a screen there. Okay, I'll try to set it up.
Yeah, Nishan Prabhu.
I don't know if it works very well because it's quite bright in the.
We can now. We will. Yeah,
Use the lights.
yeah. So it will be.
Just speak. Yeah. Oh, nice pictures. Yeah.
You will not use it. Yes. Okay. So let's see. Let's arrange. This is one. Nice. Once we can use of those if you need something. It's fine? Yes. Thank you. Number two, what was before we come here? Yeah, let's come closer. That's it, please. Yes. So during the election, everyone is late. Mostly today when everything is closed. Hare Krishna. Yes. Hare Krishna, Hare Bol. Okay.
So, Hare Krishna, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here in Arkansas. Yes. My first visit here, my first time. I never thought it would go so far north. From South America, Brazil, which is quite cold. So when we hear about the north, we always think of very cold and very cloudy. Here I am. Is it okay? Can you hear me okay? Yes. So maybe we sing a little bit while we're setting up. Jai Radha Madhava Ranjadi Hari Jai Radha Madhava Ranjadi Hari Gopi Jana Vallabha Giridharadhari Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha Yashodanandanam Brajanarandanam Yashodanandanam Yashodanandanam Brajanarandanam Yashodanandanam Brajanarandanam Yamunatiravanachari Bihari Jaya Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Giridharadhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Giridharadhari Yashodanandanam Brajanarandanam Yashodanandanam Brajanarandanam Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Shiva Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Shiva Prabhupada. Prabhupada Patita Pavana ki. I think some of the gentlemen here, they cannot see because of the curtain. Maybe they can bring the chair a little more. What do you think?
But this curtain should be closed. The light will fall on the. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Do you have it? Let's see. I don't have the laptop. USB. No, with the old. Yeah, this thing.
Yeah, because I suspect it might be the cables. The switch will work. We'll find somebody.
Hare Krishna. So it's a pleasure again to be here to talking to all of you. I have a close relationship with the farm at Almviksgard. I've been going there quite a few times, and I find that community very beautiful because they have a model which is very unique in our institution. Usually in ISKCON, we have like a temple and it supports all the families around it in terms of a community or an urban temple. And then you have congregation members who live outside and come and visit. But in Almviks, families, after long, many experiences, they developed their economies, and part of the economy was given to the temple. So it's not a temple with a community, but it's a community with a temple. So that's a very unique concept in our institution. And we appreciate that concept because it's very stable. They've been there for
Since 1981.
1981, and this village model has about 20 years.
Since 94.
Since 94. So it's more than 30 years. The village model is working. So for us, who is trying to arrange information, education to help the communities, it's a great example. And they invited me to come and visit some of the neighboring cities and in the northern Scandinavian sphere. And here I am. I am Kalakanta Das. I'm originally from Brazil, and I joined ISKCON in Brazil. And my father, he took his PhD in Cambridge, the UK, and then we went to India as a teenager. I was in India with 12 years old. And in India, in this institute called ICRISAT, which is it's an international institute in Hyderabad, Telangana. So we lived there, and all the Indian noises were so interesting to me the smell of incense in the streets and the music and the rickshaws and the rituals. It was very interesting at that age. And I was introduced to India through the researchers of Ikrisat, who are very scholarly, educated people. So my introduction to India was very philosophical, with a cultural heritage, very rich. And the other impressions that you get, poverty, noise, confusion, didn't really come to me until later on. But I already had established this impression. I think childhood impressions stick very deeply inside of me. And specifically, while my father was at this institute called Ikrisat, he had to visit many villages in India. And in Hyderabad, it's whoever knows Hyderabad. Is anybody from Hyderabad?
No, Andhra Pradesh, but not
You know Andhra Pradesh, right? It can get very hot, right? In summer, 45, 48 degrees. So we decided to travel outside of Hyderabad for the summer with the family. And my father decided to stop at a village. Now, I want to describe the imagery which came to me at 12, a Western teenager in India in the 1980s. So we came to this place, there's a big wall at the front and like an entrance door. And we entered this place. And inside we found that it looked more like a big complex of dormitories, of rooms interconnected. And what they did, they planted cotton and they went from the planting of the cotton to the weaving of the cloth. This community did this. And there were children hanging bells so the birds would not harass the crops. There were men threading the cotton, and others were painting the cotton, and others were weaving the cotton, and one family was selling the cotton. Now, in the 1980s, India had no cell phones. There was no billboards. So this village was what you could see as complete stillness. It's just like there. And there was a temple in the middle, which I don't remember. It seemed to be a Mahadev temple, a Shiva temple. But the whole village gave an impression of unity. People and the children, they were integrated, and the elderly were integrated. There was something about the village which really caught your attention. They had time for you. They could sit around, they could offer you some tea, they offer you some time. The whole, let's say, village, which was like an enormous, gigantic house, came together to receive these aliens, Westerners, coming to their place. And what stuck to my mind at that time was how much attention and focus everyone had. In everything they did, they were focused. The weaving people, they were not just looking everywhere, they just focused and they were doing their tasks. The children, they were playing and taking care of the cotton. So for me as a teenager, I had never experienced in the West that, and it was amazing. And I couldn't understand why, what I was experiencing, but it was there. And somehow my mind was intrigued. Why is it that these people are so peaceful? Why is it that these people are so happy? They were really happy to see us. They had time and they were very proud of their lifestyle. They could show us and without any pretension to convince me it was better than mine, nor vice versa. They're just curious about us and what we did. So this was in 1982. And as I progressed in life, maybe if you leave the curtain open, if you leave it open so we can see each other. That's better, right? We can see each other. So later on, I kind of, that feeling of India, of yoga, of something mystical, something transcendental was bothering me. And there were some deep questions I had. Like why some people suffer, good people suffer. Why? I couldn't understand that. And we came from a Christian background, no answers to be given except God decided. How did he decide? Is he unjust? And then, so there was all these questions in my mind. Um, how come I remember things that I don't know? It seems to come from another experience, another life, but no one can tell me about this. And many things like that as a young Westerner full of curiosity about life. And later on, I did find the Hare Krishnas. It was funny because I found them in São Paulo. I don't know if you're familiar with Brazil, but São Paulo is kind of a place you hear about Brazil. And they were like six brahmacharis, very tall, shaved heads. And I found them very strange, even though I had lived in India. Said, these guys are very weird. I don't know. So I tried to avoid them. The second year, they caught me. And they caught me and they brought me in. And they said, oh, incredible. He is Buddha in the Bhagavad Gita. So they caught me. And slowly they ended up convincing me that there was answers in these books. Now, up to that point, I hadn't figured out what was it that I had experienced in India. What was that feeling of integration, of wholeness? I couldn't understand it. But somehow there was some hope in that. Later on, reading our scriptures, I found many answers. So tonight, or today, I'd like to bring to you one verse from the Srimad Bhagavatam. And it's in an interesting place, this verse. Okay? And it's in the third canto, the second chapter, and the verse is 29. And it says something like this. Saiva Godanam Lakshmya Niketan Sita Govrisham Charyanalugam Gopal Ranavenu Ariramat. And it says, the translation says something like that. While herding the very beautiful bulls, the Lord, who was the reservoir of all opulence and fortune, used to blow his flute, and thus he enlivened his faithful followers, the cowherd boys. Now, when I read this and other passages, as you see here, there's a picture of Govinda coming back to Gokul, or you have another picture with Krishna Balaram and the cows. You start to get a picture that there's something going on in the spiritual world which is interesting, and it's attractive, and it's natural. So, here Prabhupada wrote the purport. He says, as he grew 6 and 7 years old, the Lord was given a chance of looking after the cows and bulls, because before the Lord is just a small boy and he's taking care of the cows. So therefore there's a festival called the Pashtami, where the Lord is promoted, and now he goes with the big boys to the forests of Vrindavan. He was the son of a well-to-do landlord who owned hundreds and thousands of cows. And according to Vedic economics, one is considered to be a rich man, by the strength of his store. What is it? What does he have in his storehouse to be considered rich? Ghee and grain. So that concept really struck me, because we think of wealth like a Volvo. Volvo came from here, right? I heard yesterday that Volvo was born here. And everybody in the world wants a Volvo or a Mercedes. And now, it's interesting that here Prabhupada is saying something that was completely contradictory to my notion of wealth. He's saying wealth is grains and ghee. And actually it says two things, cows and grain. With only these two things, cows and grains, humanity can solve its eating problem. Human society needs only sufficient grain and sufficient cows to solve its economic problems. Now, if you say something like this, 2025, how do you think people receive this? They don't receive this, right? It says, well, maybe some other time, some other civilization. Is it? Do you believe? You don't believe. Thank you for the. Do you believe in that? No. Okay. I'm happy. You're honest because that's what 99%, perhaps 99.9% of the population would say. And then he goes on. All other things but these two are artificial necessity created by man to kill his valuable life at the human level and waste his time in things which are not needed. We just had a very funny experience. Maybe some of you had. We were coming here and there's a block road. So we ended up in a kind of a traffic jam. And in front of us was this huge car, like a limousine, right? And it's caught in the traffic. Now you can imagine inside, you're supposed to be a glamorous person to be in a limousine. The limo's stuck. So he tried to make a curve and he couldn't, so he got stuck and the cars are horning. And everyone's getting very, very, very uncomfortable for them. People are laughing, they were walking laughing at this limousine. And it struck me. That's what Prabhupada is saying. Such a huge car. You can go with a small car. It needed a big car. And at that moment, it was clear. That's why it was funny because you have such a big car, but you're stuck and you can't do anything about it. If we think about this example, there's so many things we think is ultra important, but in a time of war, in a time of crisis, they become not important at all. In Brazil, we had a very interesting incident. The truck drivers decided to stop their work for 5 days. They said, the government's not paying us, they're charging extra money for the petrol, we'll stop. And they stopped. In 5 days, the whole country stopped. Literally, the airplanes were stopped. There was no supply in supermarkets. The country was simply a chaos place in 5 days. So we think that what we have here is so strong and real, but if you cut one item, everything stops. And what's that?
Electricity.
Electricity, yes, that'd be a big problem, but
Or the internet.
the internet, yes, the internet today. Exactly. In Vedic times, we would welcome somebody with a chair and water. Now it's the internet password. Please, that's etiquette today, right? Food, but what brings food to you? Oil. If you stop oil today, just oil, even though we're so fine to electric today, we'll have a major crisis, even in Sweden. What to speak of other places who haven't done so much investments. So just one element, one ingredient, fuel. If that stops, the whole civilization again stops. You believe that? So you believe that. So that's a good point. So now let's go on. Let's see what else Prabhupada says. He also mentioned all this necessity killed the valuable life of humans. I don't know about you, but in my country, when we have all this lifestyle in an urban city, our time is because you have to pay insurance and rent and this and tolls. And the lifestyle becomes so heavy in itself. Just to be there, just to exist, it's such a struggle, it's so hard. What about to live a nice life where you can take your Sunday off, your Monday off, your Tuesday off? You can't do that. You have to follow a very strict schedule. And more and more. And the young people today, if you realize, they're very ecological. Have you ever thought why young people are ecological?
They are ecological.
Yeah, there's a big movement of young people being ecological and wanting nature.
Because of social media?
Yeah, to some degree. Yeah.
They see consequences of what they've done in previous generations.
You caught it. They feel cheated. People feeling cheated by us. Because what does he takes a situation, he gives a better situation for his child, for his son. We took the planet in one condition, and we're giving to them a very worse planet in pollution, in crime, in war, in fight for survival. That's what we're handing them to them. So they feel cheated. And what happens? They become vegans. Says, I don't agree with the way you treat animals. Or I don't agree the way you treat the planet. Because it's not fair that you take a planet in one condition and you give it to us in such a worse situation. So the children have understood that. And now they're thinking very deeply about it. So every time you open the social media, it's about ecology, it's about farming, it's about natural living, it's about the 16 sustainable goals of ONU. How are we going to do it? Time is running only 5 years to meet those, or the planet will get warmer, and all these threats. And the youth are right behind it because they know we have cheated them. Because we believe that all these things would really make us happy. And we believe that. And so Prabhupada speaks a little more. Just as a curiosity, our class goes until what time?
Half hour more.
Half hour more. So
35 minutes.
Okay, I'll conclude because we have 3 parts to this presentation. So,
But don't you think water is more important than oil? Switch water.
oh, absolutely. That's the next
Not
war.
water.
That's the next war. But today, if you stop water, we die immediately, right? But you could somehow have so many lakes around. You could use a bucket and bring to your home, and you could survive. In Sweden, you could survive because there's so many lakes
I'm
everywhere.
not talking about Sweden, I'm talking about the planet.
About the planet, if you cut water, now it's an interesting question because water is something you plant. You plant water. When you plant a tree, 70% of the tree is water.
Yeah.
And all the tree will go back in water to the soil. So by digging with your own hands or finding water, streams, you can catch it. Okay? Now, if you're here and your food doesn't come here, where will you catch it?
But I'm talking about Africa, like countries like Burkina Faso.
Well, let's talk about more radically. Let's talk about the Sahara Desert. They're just making a green wall from one side of Africa to the other side of Africa, costing more than $2 trillion. And United Nations is putting their energy because what they found is if you uncover the soil, it becomes hard, doesn't absorb water, you have a desert. If you, on the other hand, cover the soil, and Mother Nature is a very chaste lady. She doesn't like to be uncovered. So whenever you plow the land, the weeds come up to cover her. It's protection. So nature is being protective, but we're trying to take her clean. So when you do that, you get a desert. But if you reverse the process, water comes back. So with your hands, with your intelligence, with your environment, you can bring water back to your place. You might die until you do it, but so if water is finished, still there are local supplies which will continue. There's streams from the mountains, there's wells, there's drills. Now, if you cut oil today, nothing is transported. You couldn't come here. I couldn't come here. I couldn't have traveled from Brazil to here. You can't have your food supply to cook. Point. Now, in terms of priority to oil, no comparison. That's the next war. And that's why Amazon is so important. Because what does Amazon have? What does Brazil have? 20% of the drinking water of the planet. Now, if you hold 20% of those valuable liquid, we're going to be attacked pretty soon, even though we're very peaceful people. And I just made this question. The propaganda is Brazil is destroying all the forests. Do you know how much of our original forests do we have? First question, how much of the original forest does Sweden have?
Maybe 1/3, not even 1/3.
Brazil, right?
Brazil, yeah.
What about Sweden?
I mean, Sweden, it's 70-80%.
Original forest, not planted.
Yeah, original forest. Yeah.
Original forest, I heard 1% of the original forests. And not many, many planted forests, yes, very, very big planted forests in Chile, but original forest, 1%. Brazil, according to some of these satellites, still has 87% of the original forests. 87% of the original forests. So, without going to controversies, I just wanted to bring a point that Prabhupada wanted us to understand the beautiful culture of Krishna. And that's why we're here. That's why these beautiful deities are here, to remind us there's a window to the transcendental world. And with that culture, there is an element of Krishna's lifestyle. And what does Krishna do every day?
Herding the
In the forest. So the cows in the forest are really, really an important element for Krishna. But in the current scenario, we become very distant from that. And it's very hard to believe, like we all admitted, that this would solve the problem of the world. And our children believe even less because they say, if my father couldn't go back to have this bucolic life, how can I do it? So they are now into Bitcoin and virtual reality and AI because many of the children, because the natural world is becoming very far from us. In some countries, they don't know that milk comes from a cow. Like in America, in some schools, they didn't understand that the cow and the milk is the same entity. They come from the same place. Now, there are many points I could bring out, but I'd rather end and let Tejas and Malia Harikunda show what you're doing. My main point is, I've been traveling extensively in the last 10 years to many countries, and what I've observed is that there's a great benefit in interacting with nature, with the cows, and Krishna simultaneously. Because when we are together in these examples, something magical happens, just like it happened to me when I was a child. You start to realize that there's some of the primitive functions of the human being which are activated. For example, the pleasure of being in the open air, the pleasure of milking a cow. Have you ever milked a cow? Who has milked a cow? Raise your hand. Okay, we have quite a few. We have 4, 5. It's your life. Okay, excellent, excellent. So that's a unique experience, isn't it? Like when you put your head against the belly of the cow and you're milking, there's some motherly energy going around you. You can't explain it, but it's there. Just like riding a bullock cart. Who has ever ridden a bullock cart? Okay, we have somebody here. Now, good. So you realize, you agree with me. Shivaram Swami says, when you ride on a bullock cart, all your chakras are in balance. Because the rhythm of the bull and the rhythm of the chakras are very simultaneously the same. So just by being on a bullock cart, your life cycle, your life clock, your biological clock gets reset. And I'll finish with this. It was Gaura Purnima in Sri Mayapur Dham. There's thousands of pilgrims, maybe almost like hundreds of thousands of pilgrims. I decided to take a ride from the Mayapur Goshala. Are you familiar with Mayapur, India? Yes, you are, right? Many people have been to India. So Mayapur Goshala, they have these beautiful bulls with the concrete, with these horns, which is like so majestic, like kings. And we took a ride from Mayapur to Jagannath Puri. Jagannath Puri, no, Rajapur, which is Jagannath Puri, right? That's a long trip. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's time, yeah, that would have been lovely. On foot. So what happened was, as we drove, or as we rode these bullock carts, we were chanting, and we found that chanting japa was so nice. Because the rhythm of the bulls, the rhythm of the japa, and the vibration of the holy dham seemed to be one. Just chanting the holy names and looking extremely down in the Gaura Purnima festival. And now, what is most striking for us was what we saw in the faces of the people. There was this huge flashlight of them saying like, wow, the bulls are back and the tradition is back. And they could remember their grandfather, their grandparents.
we're so blessed just to be there. We received by Hindus, by Muslims, everyone is so happy just to see that element back. So that's some experiences which show us that some of the natural things, they're hidden, and we need to expose ourselves, our children, like our small children, to those experiences. He or she?
She,
She. How old is she?
3 months.
3 months. And what is her name?
Mercia. Mercia.
Mercia. Hi, Mercia. Welcome to this world. Hare Krishna. I hope you have a good experience, and I hope your mom guides you very nicely. Now, one thing which can happen in your congregation is to organize some special events at Ambrix. So maybe you'd like to speak a little bit about Ambrix and the history and your interaction with the cows in Ambrix. Yes. You want to sit here? You can sit here. You sure? You can sit here. Let's change position.
Hi, Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, so you already mentioned Anvik was as a project started in 1981. And myself, I have been living there. I was living here in Gothenburg before, but now we have been 21 years there in Anvik. And actually, the Gårdsala, the cow protection project started in Korsnäs. So they had actually started already a little farm there. But then the devotees here in Sweden, in the Stockholm area, they really wanted to have, well, actually it was the whole Swedish Yatra together. They wanted to start a farm in different places. And finally decided upon this place where Anvik is now situated. And then the cows from Korsnäs moved to Anvik. So actually this tradition of cow protection here in Sweden has been going on now for nearly 50 years. So we have had many cows growing up, being born in Anvik, and oxen, and living their lives there, and having their own cows, and several generations like that. And we're trying to keep it going. So we were speaking a little bit in the car when we were going here. Actually, a little bit what is Gothenburg about, what is the history, and there were some mentions about Vikings and so on. And actually, I think in every culture where cows have been present, as far as I understand, in every culture, if you go to Egypt or China, Indonesia, wherever you go where people have had cows historically, there is this notion that cows represent wealth and abundance and also this motherliness. So here in Scandinavia, in the connection with these Vikings, in Norse mythology, actually, that's how the creation started, according to their understanding. That from the snow or from the ice, this cow, Aud Humla, actually different pronunciations of her name. So she was born. So actually, the first living entity in the Norse mythology was a cow, and from the cow, she was nursing the first living. Then this giant Ymer was born, and she was feeding him. So even here in Sweden, there's also some understanding about the cow. Although we do get a lot of questions from people, sometimes they come from Länsstyrelsen, like questioning like, like, what's the point? Because some people cannot understand why you would have cows unless you're eating them. Like, yeah, because that's how people here have become. So yeah, so we're trying to show this example, like, have a living example of cow protection here in Sweden, and also working with oxen. That the oxen are useful members of society, actually the spine, the backbone of society. So that's our ambition, to train the oxen for work, for useful work. Actually, here in Anvik we have found that their best job is in the forest. They're very, very strong and can push logs with it. When you look at them, it looks like they're pulling out toothpicks because it's just like they're so strong. We work with them in pairs. They're two together, and that's also interesting. We have this connection with yoke. In Swedish, the word for yoke is ok. It's the same from Sanskrit. It comes from this yuj, where you get yoga. It means connected, because when the oxen are connected, then they get this strength together. So that's also in community. We are we are yoked together. So then we have to cooperate to make it work. Actually, I'm just talking.
You're doing good. I think you're almost ready to hand to Patriot about the
Yeah.
background.
Yes. What to say? I mean, we are a whole community there. We have for many years now. Every Wednesday, for example, sometimes it was Tuesday. It doesn't matter. But we have once a week as a tradition that we invite all the youth and children. Actually, we invite the whole community. Everyone is welcome, but especially the children have been very actively coming. And we do service together. So all the children and youth in our community, they know how to milk a cow, and I think everyone. Actually, even many of the youth knows how to drive with the oxen and to work with the oxen. So those are some of the things we're doing. We have also cows that give milk, so we have enough milk for the temple and for the community, and a little bit more later. Yes.
How many cows and bulls are there in Abu?
Now 11, no 12, because we just got 2 bull calves from a place. We saved them from some horrible destiny. We got them family, so they're young. Actually, there was some picture in the beginning of the news. One is just a month old, and the other is different. Yes, 12.
So what we really want to do is see if we have here, like the picture here, we have a young boy. He's actually working with oxen, and he came as a volunteer to Anvi. So he was first. It was 2 months. He was.
It was not as a volunteer. He just came.
No, Kamala Pierce. He said he was involved.
This is Donald.
Yeah, he
No,
was.
he just came. He's a devotee. He came somewhere.
Oh, I was informed that he told me he was to come up here as a volunteer, like sometime.
Little later.
Little later. Okay. So we want to pass this to the younger generation. This, as already mentioned, like to work with the oxen, to learn how to milk the cows, and everything is we see to something everyone. Like it's not just for a few. Like it should be something open to everyone. Because it's so close to us as human beings to have this bond with the cows. That this should be something we like to spread around. Because we have practical experience how much we gain from it. So this is something we want to give to others. Like if you have something valuable, if you just keep it to yourself, you're kind of miserly. But if you feel something, you have something valuable, you want to share it, then you get more happy than if you just try to keep it for yourself. So this is actually what we come to offer on this tour. We want to open the opportunity that this is something you can experience as well. Alnwick has a very nice facility, like for guests. So if you yourself would want to give this experience to yourself, or you wanted to give it to your children, like it's possible to come and visit and have time with the cows and interact with the cows. So we think that this to make this successful, to share this culture is a great task that was actually given to us by our guru and founder, Srila Prabhupada. He wanted us to do this. Like, he was very clear in his instructions that we must do cow protection. This is the Vedic culture. Like, the Vedic culture is based on the protection of the cows. This is very central. And so he gave us this task. So it seemed like a big thing, but we know that Krishna is behind it. That Krishna is helping. It's simply if we try. So we want to open up the opportunity that you should think that this is something that you can take part in. You can come and have experience with the cows and see how it feels. We hear it from the book Srila Prabhupada he gave us, how wonderful the cow is, how beneficial, as our previous speakers, they already said, or touched upon. So we want people to come have a practical experience, so they can experience for themselves. So this is one way you can participate. You can come, you can have a practical experience here. The cows are there at Alnwick, they're just waiting. And we want to say that you should think this is a family project. This is not only Alnwick, but this is ours. Like, this is our service to our guru. This is our dharma. Now we should do this as a matter of dharma. So we invite you to participate in any way you can. If you can come for our festivals, for a visit, please come. If you like your child to come, even for extended stay, come for a weekend, come for a week, and really get an experience in your holidays. You can choose to come to Alnwick like that and get that experience. Or if you can't come, maybe you want to support. Even I can like. Here, there is this cow. Could you tell a story of these cows, if you may, shortly? Yeah, this is probably rather really in the background. No, that's okay.
These cows, they came.
That was Lakshmi.
But the Radha and Rodini, they came to us in 2022, I think, 2000. They are of the brown Swiss breed, and I think what you're asking is there's a nice history behind this breed. They were taken care of by Benedictine monks in Switzerland. Actually, there were Benedictine monks in France, in Italy, in Switzerland, and from Benedictine, he had this principle that they would not eat quadruples, like four-legged animals. So they were not, they were having, so for about 1,000 years, they were, one can say, developing this, taking care of this breed, and it's kind of an interesting, nice example of cow protection within the European context, because it was also supported. There was Henry II of England in about 500 years ago. He heard about these monks and he liked what they were doing, so he was donating huge tracts of lands for these monks so they could have more cows. So they had it not only for, they also were using like oxen because they were doing agriculture like that. So I don't know, but I think that these brown Swiss cows, they're very, like, they look very cute and they're very trusting, and I suspect that because if they have been cared for so many, like traditional, like Indian, I noticed also in India the cows are also almost too kind and nice. They're like so trusting because they're used it for since forever that people care for them, and so they trust. Now it's not so good to trust humans anymore, but So yeah, so we have these like those are the latest like cows that give milk in Anvik that we have. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I think,
I would also to comment something that Prabhupada, he made very strong statements about cow protection. One of them is in the Bhagavatam, in 1:14:34, he writes in the purport, a society devoid without cow protection is not under the direct protection of the Lord. What a strong statement. And you may wonder, Prabhupada, you would be fanatical. I mean, what do you mean? But because he's equating that cow protection is the element which feeds Brahminical culture. And Brahminical culture is what leads us to depend on Krishna. And he also said that every temple, every center should have a farm connected to it. And he spoke about this a lot. And of course, we know not everybody can have a farm. It's not practical. The congregation is not to the point yet. So what we suggest is that since in Scandinavia there's only like one cow protection program, which is in Nordics, you could join hands. You could visit, you could support, you could be an advocate and adopt that program as your cow protection program as well. And that becomes a win-win situation because you have an opportunity to take your children, to yourself go, have a retreat. And on the other hand, they have more chance to develop further. So I think that combination between temples and farms is really important. I just wanted, do you want to say something?
no, I think that's good ground level.
Yes.
Like, I think that's good.
Yeah, okay, so, well, yeah, questions?
I would like to know what are the benefits of doing Go Puja?
Go Puja.
Yes.
Yes, I can tell you.
And how do we do this? Like, is it like a normal puja with the
Yes.
name or-
You see, the Go Puja was done by Krishna in the Govardhan festival, the original Govardhan festival. And he suggests you go Puja, go Krida, and all these different rituals. And the Go Puja basically is acknowledging 23 million demigods. So when you do the Go Puja, you're actually honoring all the managers of the universe, including Krishna and Lakshmi. Now, do you know where Lakshmi is in the cow? In the cow dung. So she came a little late. There was no place for her. So she said, okay, I'll stay in the cow dung. Now it's funny because the cow dung is what generates humus. You know, humus is black soil. Humus, you're familiar with that. You know the black soil, when you let the worms eat the soil or decompose, you get the very dark black soil, nice smell. That's humus. You can also buy it to put in your plants. And if you have a look, humus and humanity have the same root. Because we depend on the soil to live. We may not think like that today, but that's the reality. The stronger is your soil. And something I was going to mention, maybe for next time, is how a poor soil leads to depression. Because many people now understand that in the north, there's a lot of depression. It's famous for depression because of the climate, many things like that. People are not so communicative like the South Americans. They were like open, and so they thought. But recently, it's discovered that if your food does not have zinc, zinc leads to depression. Lack of zinc, because it's fundamental for many brain synapses and functions, which will generate procedures of happiness, hormone production, and things like that. So now, having a place which can give you good food is really important. So what is the benefit of doing Go Puja? When you do a Go Puja, you're honoring the demigods and you're honoring the whole cycle of the universe. Because the cow has a function to nurture. That's her dharma. So she nurture yagya, because without ghee, there's no yagya. And then she nurtures the soil with the dung. She nurtures humanity with the bull, which gives you grains in a more traditional way. So the cow is nurturing on a gross level and on an intangible level. Because when you do the Go Puja, what happens is some of the benefits of pleasing Krishna happens. Some of the punya happens. because you are honoring somebody who's very dear to Krishna. So the whole mentality behind the Gopuja is that Krishna is the cowherd, number one. He does this every day. The Supreme Lord, the Supreme Govinda. Do it. Very simple. Farm to tell you is Mayapur. They have a very standard. If you just put online Mayapur, there's a whole sequence. It starts with saying some mantras which honor Mother Earth, Mother Cow, Lord Vishnu, and then you wash the feet of the cows, and you offer some kurkum, and then you add this sindhu, very red, and you put the dots, and then you cover the cow with a beautiful cloth, then you do puja. So if you watch on the Mayapur TV, there's a very standard go puja. Now remember that you do a go puja to please Krishna. So the main element is this is to please Krishna, not to please someone else. So that's the maximum benefit you can get from the go puja.
Yeah. Can I ask one more question?
Yes, and maybe you want to say something. And you can do it there at Olympics. They do go pujas. And many people who have done go pujas have found that some of their mental blocks or karmic blocks have been removed. Because Krishna all of a sudden became very favorable to you and said, okay. So this is not a propaganda. Actually, I know many people who did it and experienced that, including myself. I've experienced that. In one way, I've experienced that in Australia. I was there very early in the mission, I mean, 3 years down the mission, and I was thinking, how was I going to travel the world? There was no budget. I was going to convey the message of cow production, agriculture, who mainly thinks about worship of Krishna and Sankirtan. So how scared? But I said, okay, you're Dharma, and I went with them. They're kind of big, so they look, and he conveyed the message, says, no worry, we are with you. So I felt it inside, and that was so incredible because so many good things happen within the mission. So I feel that that connection is very powerful. You have something to say also?
Yeah, the question more.
Yeah, one more question.
Yeah.
What is your name?
Jana.
Jana.
And so, have you ever tried to convey the message of child protection in, say, in religious setting or like with politicians, or because it's like, I guess with many Muslims and Christian things they are lunatics, so we talk because Hindus and like Christians worship the cow. So, but it's so important, like for creating peace and harmony and wealth. So, did you ever try it, and how could it?
I think there was one incident in India where Dr. Vallabha Katiria, who was a government official to establish cow protection in India, it was the Rasa Kamadeno Ayog, and we were speaking, and his conclusion, even in India, was that the best way is to show that the cow is more valuable alive than dead. And he was trying to show that economically, like if you kill the cow, you get this much money for the meat. But if you keep her alive, that's what you can get from cow dung, from paint made from cow dung, from fuel. He listed about 30 products. And that was his theory. I think he's correct. The way to preach cow protection is not about the values for government, it's about the ecological value. Because everybody is saying the cow is the culprit for global warming, but actually that's a wrong construe, it's a wrong concept. Because if I put everybody here in this room on a hamburger diet for 1 month, what may come out of here may not be very pleasant. So you're putting the cow in an extreme condition of living in a very inhumane or even animal right situation and exploiting her to the end. And as a result, you may get some contaminations and things. But if you look at the cow in the natural environment, she's perfect. Before the global warming, were there cows on the planet? Of course. India had thousands and millions of cows, never talked about global warming. So it's a question of the method. So preaching to government, I think it is about the value of the cow in the ecological chain, how the cow can be beneficial, how the residue use of cows through biogas, through different elements are such a great thing.
So is it not true that their gases?
No, it's not true. I mean, I can say that from my, I mean, if you want to go a scientific route, we needed to establish a few parameters. So one of the parameters is, have cows been accused of polluting the planet 100 years ago? I don't read anything in the scientific bibliography which shows that the cows were responsible for global warming. There was not even the concept of global warming. Now they are, and the element put is two gases, methane and even one more, which is, what's the other one? It's two gases. Huh?
Butane and methane. Methane and butane.
Yes, okay, so they say methane is the worst, which is a
Yes.
small particle and can warm up the whole situation. But from my perspective, it's like phrasing the discussion in a way that really takes the focus away from what is the real problem, it's the unnecessary production of things which you don't need. That's what it is. We're trying to cover that attachment that we have for unnecessary things. Go to your house, make a survey of all the ingredients you have and say, how much do I need this cream? Specific cream or a toothpaste or something in your house, and make an honest analysis. This is fundamental. With this, I will not live. Make a list. And if you go even deeper, make a list. How much this item is connected to my spiritual growth? That's even a bigger list. And you find that we have so many unnecessary things, including when you move your house and you find you have boxes and boxes and boxes of things you don't need, right? So to sum up your question, I would say that what we need today is Krishna consciousness. That's the lacking thing of the universe. And to assist Krishna consciousness, this lifestyle is very helpful because it relieves your mind, it relieves your body, it relieves your future generation from so much stress and having to face a very cruel world where more and more pollution, competition, and adverse situations in front of them. So I think that rather than just dismissing this is old, we could experience, we could see, how do I fit into this? How can I support this? How can I advocate this? Is that all right? Jennifer? Yes. Two more questions. This is for you. Do you have two questions?
I just wanted to.
That's okay if we are probably over time. It's okay we take the question?
Okay.
Yeah?
No
Yes.
problem.
Prabhu, after staying outside, like not in natural environment, without having cows, and so we have gone so much used to it. Actually, I belong to this agricultural. I mean, I have this at home. But after coming outside, we have been so much engaged in this way of life that even thinking about going back and doing this, it becomes so difficult. I mean, it's not so easy for me at least. I don't think that, or I have not. I mean, it becomes very difficult to take a decision. I want to internally. I feel that I must go, but then when I feel that here we are so nicely, comfortably doing all these things, everything is available. So, how can I take that step? It has really been a very big block. So this is something, how can we practically achieve?
He's passing the microphone. Uh, Thank you. That's a beautiful, important question. What I'm saying is not that you should all go to the farm. It's not possible. It's everybody has a life cycle, a life mission you have to accomplish. But, but every one of us has the power of social engineering. What is that? Making your life in such a way that you can plan, you can adjust. I did it myself. At 51, I decided to go back to the farm and start and to see on my own skin what does it feel like. And it's scary because so many fears, so many challenges, Do you have the physical strength? Can you endure it? Can you make it? Do you know how to do it? Will people laugh at you? So many. Once I did it, I found number three, the benefit that even if you have a little bit of it in this life, just having it will help you to help your children, help your family make better decisions. Because otherwise, all you have to do is to give them the comfortable lifestyle of everything works. But one day when it doesn't work, they are not ready. They don't have a clue. And they will lose their sense of family, of culture, of connectivity with nature. Today, we encourage not to build your house. No, you need permits. The government, you can't. It's a very fearful situation. But it's natural that a human being can build his house. It's natural a human being can produce his own food. It's natural a human being can teach their children. But we're being taught to not do that. That's a government thing. You can't do that. It's all these things that are alienating you as a human to practice what you could do. So making plans, social engineering, to come close to that is very important. And one of the things you could do is have a retreat in Outreach. Take a weekend, that's very doable, or a small holiday, or a holiday. Let's make an experience. So it starts from there. And you start feeling that benefit yourself, your family. Just having time in this environment is so therapeutic for families. So much of the family conflicts can be solved just by having good quality time with your family members in such a spiritual environment. Yeah, is that okay?
Yeah.
Good. One last question.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Thank you for mentioning in the beginning that the youth are getting more enlightened about conscious choice of their life. So I've seen few of these youth who consciously choose to be vegan, and the main rationale which they say is like, okay, that the way they are treating cows now in the factory is not humane. It's like they inject a lot of hormones and they extract milk. And it is a lot of questions like that. And sometimes I try to cover it up and say that no, no, it's good. I have been born and brought up in an Indian family, and we used to go to the cow farm and get the milk fresh always. And here we buy the packet milks and all, of course. But I mean, at the back of the mind, I still start to question the choice that is it right to have this bottled milk now? I mean, the packet milks which we have it, because I mean they are right in one way. Although if I cover my eyes, but I think they are right in one way.
I'm going to pass the question to the local answer. Do you or you? Who wants to answer that? You want to answer?
Well, one is it more answer.
It's one of those like questions. For us, I mean, for us who lives in Hungary, we are lucky. We are really lucky. What I think is that for to have a cow protection, to have a Goshala, you need to be a community. At least to be, okay, there are some grihastas who manage, but it's more safe for the cows. So from that point of view, we are lucky. But then for the rest, yeah, it's a hard question and it's very controversial. So I don't.
You want to pass it back to the global?
To the global.
Do you want to pass it back to me?
Yeah.
So, what she says is something so important because she's trying to balance two things. Milk is necessary. Even if you go vegan, you want to have almond milk. Why call it milk? Call it almond liquid, almond something else. Peanut milk. Why milk? Because there's a hankering in the human mind for milk. It's part of our archetype. We're looking for that. Now, to agree with the industry is something also like quite horrible. And I agree with the industry. So what is the right position? And I'll try to answer with something in our theology. One of our acharyas said, pure bhakti only starts at prema. So there's no bhakti before prema. Who is in prema here? Raise your hands. I don't see any hands, so nobody is doing bhakti. Then Baladeva Vidibhushan said, wait a second. A green mango is a mango. It's still a mango. It's not ripe, you can't taste it, but it's mango. So anything you do for Krishna is bhakti in its early stage. So then who is right? Vishwanath Chakravarti or Baladeva Vidibhushan? Who would you say is right? Both. That's the correct answer. Why? Let's say someone is proud. I'm a bhakta. Can't you see I'm pure? Then Vishwanath Chakravarti. Yeah, are you in prema, Prabhuji? No, so slow down. Now, if someone is saying, I'm so fallen, I'm so depressed, how could I ever do bhakti? It's not for me. Then Baladeva, no. The green mango is bhakti. So, if someone is saying, no problem, Prabhu, we can just exploit the cow, milk is important, cheese is so tasty, then you Vishwanath Chakravarti for him, right? Aha, so you agree with the meat industry. Okay? Now let's say someone is saying like, but I need milk, I have children need milk. What shall I do? Shall I become vegan for my children? The milk of the cow has the power to nurture the finer tissues of the brain to make you understand Vishnu and Krishna. That's a fact. Prabhupada says that all along the Bhagavatam. It's very much 1:17:3. Prabhupada just goes right down that. Without that milk, you cannot understand Krishna. And the beginners say, how can you say that the secretion of a cow will determine your spirituality? Yes, it will determine spirituality, but it has some elements which you need to make that connection. They do not understand the connection, so they can say it won't, because they just see the milk of the cow as a secretion. They don't see what is inside there. Okay? So it's a very controversial question, because if you want to state one, you are wrong with the other. So you have to balance the situations to come to a conclusion. Many gurus are vegan in ISKCON. They say, no, I don't drink any milk, it's not from protected cows. Are they right? Yes, they're right. Some devotee says, I have to drink milk because I have children, I like milk, and I can't give it up yet. And milk is necessary, so I use it. But they're humble about it and they say, but I can support cow protection. Is that right? Yeah, that's also right. What is the bottom line? If my action is increasing protected milk in the planet, I'm in the right path. If my action is decreasing milk production from protected cows in the planet, my action is not correct according to Sri Lanka. Why? Because we need that milk in our community. Yes.
I have also thought about and heard the argument that at least if we offer milk that come from abused cows, at least will help them to serve Krishna. So something in their life was beautiful.
I've heard that argument and I've heard the argument disconstructed. So, as he said, it's a controversial field, right? Because someone will say, yes, but your milk from your cow came from 1,000 cows in this place. It was mixed. And in your cup, there is one droplet from that one. It's like, how are you going to determine who is, 1,000 cows. So, it's a controversial argument. What I would advise is, first of all, cow protection is fundamental. Prabhupada said that. It is fundamental. And today, it's not practical. I live here for so long. I'm used to my comfortable. Everything works for me. I have money, I have a credit card, I have a car, I have a job. Everything's working. So what's the problem? That's what we think at the moment. But when you just think of the crisis, then it's different. So back to you and back to milk. Milk is the toughest of the foods to produce because it is an ecosystem. It's just like worshiping the deity. You need Brahmins, you need offerings, you need consciousness. This altar moving, I'm sure the temple presidents will to keep it in a very busy world. So I'll conclude, and really conclude, saying that for all of you, you have a great gift because it's so hard to do cow protection in Kali Yuga. And you have for 50 years somebody doing cow protection right at your next neighbor's door. So take advantage of it. Imagine if you had to go to India or to I don't know where to experience. It's very close by. And I can guarantee that by doing that, within your community, a desire will be born to have better food, better milk, better environment for the children. It just comes up. And the culture is preserved. Because part of the culture attraction, Kali Yuga is extracting the culture of the cows. What is attacked the most in Kali Yuga? The cows. 34,000 cows are killed every minute. So every minute of this lecture, 34 cows down, 34,000 down, 34,000 down. 34,000, not 34,000 cows. So it's like, it's a very cruel environment. So to be able to neutralize that with small actions is really important. I guess that's what we have to say. Right?
Yes.
Yes.
I would just like to take the opportunity to tell about our how you can sponsor or how you could become a monthly donor to support the cows. And we have this program. This is a website we have, Konas Vänner, that you can log on to there, and it's possible to become a monthly donor to help, like the Goshala, to help this protection of the cows. And we brought with us some gifts from the cows, like some bags of burpees. So if anyone would like to help support to become a monthly donor, we have some special gifts to offer. Not coffee. Oh, you gave us toffees. Like actually a Prabhupada disciple, he made these amazing toffees with his own hand, with his own like devotion. So he gave that with us. So we have this, you know, and if you would like to support the cows, you can either approach like myself or Maria Hari, and we'll be happy to facilitate, to help you. So thank you so much.
I want to really thank all of you. It's not every day that we call for cow protection seminar and so many devotees come. So I really congratulate you for being here. From my viewpoint, doing this for 11 years, there's so much benefit and value for all of us in this. And I really invite you to explore, to read, to try to do something positive and proactive in your community, because there's a major change of consciousness in the community. So thank you all very much once again. It's a pleasure to be for the first time in Gothenburg. And congratulations to all your worship in Puja, and I think there's more programs now. Thank you also.
Thank you.
Prabhuji, Ram Mohan Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for such a nice presentation. It is really, really good to hear such important points from such elevated and realized devotees. So, after the program, Prabhu Mataji will be here. So all the questions, all the discussions can be continued. And now we will have Gaur Arati. So please everyone stand up. Ladies in this side, gentlemen on this side. Devotees may be helped to take away the... Yes.